Hi Capricorn, welcome to your week ahead horoscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Cappy, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So this week you have the Death card as your key to the week, right? And yes, this can be completions, culminations and endings, but it's also purging, it's also release, right? It's also the energy of doors being closed to you. Now, the thing about that is sometimes our human existence and experience will have us say, you know, why am I being denied? Why is this not happening? Why is, you know, why? The eternal question, right? And one of the things that's going to show up for you this week over the course of the week with this Death card as your key, it basically says that in all of these areas of your life, there is likely to be some sort of completion, some sort of ending. There's something coming to a close that is likely not to go ahead, right? And the fact that certain doors are now being closed to you, it's not about punishment. It's about the fact that there's nothing for you in the path that you're heading at this moment in time. So the universe heads you off, closes that door and says, no, that's not the way that you're supposed to be going. And what happens when a pathway is closed to us? We build a new one. We find a new one. Did you know? This is such an interesting fact. And if you're like a proper geek like me, then you will love this fact, right? So we've got, we've got many systems in the body. But your lymph system, it doesn't have a pump. So your blood's got your heart to send it around there, but your lymph system doesn't have one. So it relies on very deep breathing. It relies on your skeletal movement. So every time you move and you exercise, you move the lymph around your body. And obviously, you know, you hear of all kinds of disorders and stuff and people having to have pieces of it cut out. Did you know that your body is so clever and so amazing that it will build a new pathway if it can't find one? So let's say the lymph travels from here and it's like, oh, okay, well that bit's been removed. You know what? I'll just build a new one. This is exactly what this week could be for you. So if there's a door that's shut to you, if there's a pathway that's closed to you, find another way. It's just that, you know, and this is the thing as well. Sometimes it's because there's nothing in that direction for you, right? And you're going to have to listen to that, right? You're going to have to really sit with yourself and ask yourself, is this door being closed to me because there's nothing for me in that direction? Usually if you poke around in your inner senses, like you'll come to an answer, and sometimes no answer is an answer, right? I've got friends of mine who will send me little questions or emails and they'll ask certain things and I'm like, right? They know at this point, they know, right? Sometimes with Raph, no answer is an answer, right? And this is the case as well with with the cosmos, right? And this is for me as well. I've had so many moments where I'm like, no, this is supposed to happen. Why isn't it happening? Well, it's not happening because it's not supposed to, and no answer is an answer. Now, that being said, if the way that you are going is closed to you, maybe the path that you're taking towards it is not the right one. So there's something about, possibly about a test of your dedication, of your staying power, of which we know Capricorns have, I've got to say, probably more than most, aside from the fixed signs, because, you know, they're fixed. But you get my point. All right. With that said, if you haven't got your seat for the winter solstice, you can get yours on the link in the description box below. As a Capricorn, you definitely want to be there because as the sun comes into the sign of Capricorn, this is the most powerful day to set your intentions. You're going to be doing this surrounded by like minds, like souls, people that are ready to really achieve their best in the new year. We're going to have two amazing guests, Heather from Astrology with Heather. We're going to have Denise from Human Design with Denise. We're going to be talking astrology, tarot, numerology. We're going to be doing goal setting, future life progression. Trust me, it's going to be a packed session and you really don't want to miss it. And this year, yes, there will be a replay for you to watch. All right. So with that, your actions and options for the year ahead, the year ahead, for the week ahead, eager beaver, right, is the Page of Cups. So this is a time sequence. First thing that I want to say to you is what was happening for you in Scorpio season, late October coming into early to mid-November. What was happening for you at that moment of this year, right? And the reason this is important is because that time sequence speaks to the time of Scorpio, which suggests that whatever's happening for you this week, whatever's coming up for you this week, it's an echo of something, right? Now, the Page of Cups is speaking directly to something that your heart is intertwined with or involved with. Now, I remember reading in a book years ago, it's called Cormac the Seers by a lady called Dwina Murphy-Gibb. Just phenomenal. And the way that I found this book was such an odd synchronicity. It's just beautiful. To this day, it still captures me. Anyway, I digress. What's important about this is in one of the lines in that book was, nothing good can come from willing something so hard. And what this suggests to me is this week it may very well be a case of something that you want so bad that you're willing to tread a path for it that is not true to you, right? There's something about this. It's not about, being out of your integrity. It's about possibly doing maybe wanting something that isn't really right for you. And, with everything that I talked about with the Death card, this is something that you might really need to consider this week, all right? So when it comes to your communications and conversations, you've got the Star card. This is really nice. So there's a sense here with your communications that some of the conversations you're going to be having are wide, they're far. Now, because you've got this with the Death card, this could be the end of a friendship. I'm really sorry to say that, and I truly hope that I'm wrong. This could also be something that you were planning to reach out into the world with, something that you were planning to do. I don't feel like this is a no. So if you're planning to launch a website, if you're planning to put something out into the world, it's not that it's not going to happen. It's just that now is not the right time. This is not the right week for you to do it. And with, some of the astrological happenings of this specific week, I would say that kind of tracks as well. So just something for you to think about. Now, that being said, when it comes to for those of you that are employed by somebody else, this really suggests to me that maybe some of your ideas this week are not the best ones that you've had. And so if you find that they're being shot down or they're kind of being brushed aside or, not taken on board, it may just be because this time you haven't bought the goods. And 9 times out of 10, Capricorn brings the goods, right? You have good ideas, you know how to implement them, you're really good at building structures and making things happen. This might be one of those weeks where something that you want to do or something that you suggest is so far out there or so far beyond that people just aren't there with it yet. All right. So when it comes to those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, one of the ways that this might show up for you is something that you are planning to release, something that you're hoping to put out into the world is either not seen in the way that you would like it to be, or I'm going to be really honest, there's a part of it maybe that isn't authentic. All right. There's a part of this that if you don't believe it, nobody else is going to believe it. That's the bottom line of it. It's the bottom line of everything, right? And you can see this when somebody has conviction in what they do, everybody else is going to have conviction in it too. All right. That rhymed. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, one way that you might consider this, all right, for some of you, if you are planning to study or if you're in the throes of study, this week there might be something that comes up that pulls you off of this path, all right? So it might be that it's not that you're not going to finish the studies, it's just that right now there are other priorities, and it may be that that's the case. For your love and relations, you've got the Wheel of Fortune. This is very nice. This is great. For those of you that are single, There's definitely potential for love this week. I mean, I will say with that Page of Cups there, maybe you're being a little bit more idealistic than you usually are. You've got this, you know, coupled with the Wheel of Fortune, which kind of almost suggests that you're maybe glossing over something, right? Like, so, no, they don't have any flaws. Like, and there's like 1,000 red flags, and everyone else is like, okay, is the Capricorn broken right now? Because usually they wouldn't stand for this. Pay attention to some of what comes up, all right? That being said, it does look like there are several opportunities here, or at least one or two that are viable. But it looks like there's, I don't want to say that there's a trickster among the mix. It almost feels like you're being presented with maybe one, two, possibly more options. And one of them represents or is an echo of who you used to be. And if you align with that person, you're going to revert back into that person that you were at that time to attract that kind of person real quick. This is a moment where you're going to have to think really, really carefully about who you align with on a relationship level. When it comes to those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this might be a time where things between you and a partner do lighten up and ease up. It could also be a time where, again, I'm sorry to say, I know these are brighter cards, but there's just something about this mix that almost feels to me like, and Capricorn's not known for fooling themselves, right? But there's something here where it's like you're glossing over some of the details, like you're refusing to see what something actually is versus what it could be. Do you know what I mean? Like, or yeah, I think that's something. For your money and materials, you've got the Page of Wands. So you've got 2 pages here. 2 pages represent disquiet. Right, so this could be a week where there are some interesting conversations had, maybe words had with someone. You got this underneath the Star card, so this could be a great idea that you have, right? That really could increase your revenue, that could really see you making more money. One of the things is, again, right, if that disquiet is coming from within and there's a part of you saying this is not authentic to who I am, or I'm using work that's not my own, or do you know what I mean? Like somewhere the big you is going to step in, and this is, and that's not to say that any of you are out here plagiarizing, but it's just something that you might want to watch out for. Again, this whole thing about authenticity and not glossing over things is really coming up for you guys this week. And it's weird as well to have these kinds of messages come through for Capricorns, right? With that Page of Wands, your ideas are far-reaching, right? Especially with this Star card, they're far-reaching, they're big, they're broad, but the Death card is there saying this is not necessarily the right way for you to go about something. And this is why I say to you, like, if it's something that's maybe not authentic, or it doesn't feel like it sits right with you, just because it's successful doesn't mean that it's not going to come toppling down at a later date. Be careful. Now, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, I like the Page of Wands for health and vitality because it kind of suggests that you're maybe, for some of you, stepping back onto the comeback trail. Maybe you start going back to the gym this week, maybe. And you know what? Like, as a lot of people say, like, oh, what's the point? Christmas is just around the corner. Like, forget that, right? If you're starting now, this is perfect because it means that you're going to go through this and you're already leagues and bounds ahead of everybody else that's going to do the whole 1st of January thing. If you want to get it done right, come to the winter solstice. All right, shameless promotion there. All right, but when it comes to your home and environment, the Page of Wands could be, I mean, if you have children, with these 2 pages, there could be something that gets a bit loud or a bit challenging around the children, with the children. If you don't have any kids, then this could literally just be that something gets a bit excitable around the house, right? Maybe for some of you it could be a pet, but it will be interesting. So your full moon message is the gate 53 and opening, right? So isn't this interesting? I talked about doors being closed. This suggests that there are other things for you to achieve. There are other directions for you to go in, and you've got to find the right one. So when the doors are closing this week, or certain pathways are closed to you, ask the question, am I in my integrity? Am I in my authenticity? And if you're not, find a way to get back to that, right? This is a time where you need to come back to being yourself. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, whatever you do or don't celebrate. A happy holiday season to you, and I will see you soon.